Sacred Mysteries.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Sacred Mysteries Worldwide channel. I'm your host, Interfaith Minister Reverend MignonGrayson. Today's video is going to focus on the rightly titled Divine Timing. And this topic is near and dear because I've experienced some things recently, and I wanted to bring that topic kind of into focus because it is so much a part of our lives, whether we're aware of it or not. Divine timing. And when I say that, I mean things that are to happen or to unfold in your life in a certain way. Some of us know some of the things that are supposed to happen or that we're working on. Some of us don't. Some of us become aware. Some of us don't want to be aware, or whatever the case may be. There are certain things in your life that go by the divine time clock, meaning they happen when they are supposed to happen. Not a minute, not a day, not a month, not a week, not a year, late or early. No matter how much we want to either delay it or how much we want to bring it in. And cultivating patience and cultivating surrender when you are, especially when you're like pushing on something happening and you're really trying and striving and you've prayed and you've meditated, you've divined and you've gotten insight and guidance that says, yes, this is going to happen and this is for you. You're on the right path and whatever the case may be, but you know this is for you in this place and time. But it's not quite coming through the way you want it to come through in terms of how soon. And we're waiting on it. And, you know, whether we feel it's critical, whether we feel like it's just something that we want to happen, whether it's help that's along the way, you know, supposed to come along the way, whether it's, you know, the opening of certain doors and paths and all of that. Understand that nothing can be pushed outside of its divine timing, period. Now, how do you know what is under the time clock of the divine, you know, landscape? You don't really know. You don't really know. At least in my case, you know, my experience has been you don't really know. But keeping the faith and keeping the right mindset and keeping the steps that you are taking, you know, in the way that you're supposed to do them, you know, happening, everything will come to a culmination of manifestation, period. And I have to use some of the things as as an example for me, is my example of what has happened to me over the last maybe couple of years. There have been some major projects, major things that I had in my mind about when they were supposed to come into fruition, and they didn't. And although I had everything pointing to their manifestation, all the confirmation spirit-wise, you know, with the ancestors, with the Orisha, you know, Ifa, and even in my own self-divination, I needed it to happen, or I thought I needed it to happen when I needed it to happen. But guess what? It happened when it was the most perfect time for it to happen. And and you don't really recognize this until you're in it. So you're in it, you're pushing, you're moving, and you're praying, you're crying, you say, why isn't it coming through? You know, or this was supposed to happen, and you're feeling like the spirits are letting you down. You're feeling like, you know, you're not on your right path because something must be wrong and all of that, and your doubt starts to creep in. And let me tell you, that's the time to kind of lock down into it and surrender, knowing that spirit got you. If you had the confirmation, if you've ordered the steps that you're supposed to do, and it's sort of like, what is it called? What is that term? Loading. It's loading. And that thing is loading, and you're on 10%, another 2 months, you want 20%, you know how things go. It just feels like things are hanging in the air when you're just waiting for it to just boom and just be there. So in those times when you know you're in alignment, because you need to check and make sure, whether you check within yourself or you check with divination, or you've already known that this is what you are to do, or whatever the project is that you are working on in any area of your life, and it's not quite moving the way you want it to move. Surrender to divine timing and talk to your spirits and say, okay, I thought I was supposed to happen by now, but you know what, y'all? I know you got me, and I know this is what I'm supposed to do, or what is supposed to happen. So I have to let it go. Let go of the worry, let go of the doubt, let go of the fear, let go of the anxiety. And it's, easier said than done, but utilize instances as that to cultivate patience, to cultivate deeper faith, to cultivate your knowingness with your internal knowingness, your psychic ability. Cultivate all the things that will help support you as you move through and allow divine timing to drop things into your life. And it's a hard lesson for me. I've gone through that over the last few years, but I have to tell you, things dropped in perfectly when they were supposed to. When I look back, that's when I know. When I'm in front of it or it hasn't happened yet, I'm like, what's going on? So I really had to learn, especially recently, because things didn't happen, because normally I got a certain rhythm. I get these little signs and signals, and I'm like, all right, it's happening. All right, here it comes. Recently, that was not the case. I kept saying, okay, here it comes. Here it comes. Up. All right. Breathe. Wake up. Pray. Keep the faith, keep the positive thinking, the visualizations, all the things that you know to do to bring things into manifestation. You keep doing that and knowing that things are going to drop in at the right time. And it's always perfect. That's all I could say about that. Something else about the divine timing. What else was I going to say? I am just amazed about when you surrender to spirit, surrender to your ancestors. You go to your ancestors for assistance in working things out. You've given them the problem. You've given them the desires. You've given them the plan that you have in mind. And I say that, have in mind. Now, the plan is the plan, or the goal within the plan is what you want. So you might have a particular plan, but they order things the best way it's supposed to be. So surrendering and allowing things to take their natural course is really what divine timing is all about. So trust in it, believe in it, know it, and practice that. Because when we don't surrender, acknowledge, and leave an opening for divine timing, our minds work at, what is the problem, or the doubt sets in, or, you start to self-sabotage things, or you start to change directions into a direction that you shouldn't be going, because you're allowing the ego that brings up the fear to be in the forefront. And this is the time this is the case where you should really say, okay, I've already got my confirmation, so I'm just going to continue to do what I do. And when it clicks into place, that's when it's supposed to. So I just share that with you because that's my personal experience. And that is what I have also known in theory. But when you put it in practice, it's a lot easier to know the theory of the concept. But to put it into practice, it takes self-development. It takes surrender. It takes, just understand, faith. Just understanding that it happens when it happens. Well, I hope this particular message, is reaching the ears that it needs to reach, and it gives you a level of comfort that you can kind of sit in the knowingness that divine timing is what is ruling right now in your particular situation. And it does get scary because sometimes some of us are narrowly escaping certain types of what we would think are catastrophes or disasters or mishaps or losses. But when we are on the right track, we need to know that the things will come in to fold at the right, most perfect time. You couldn't have planned it better yourself. Trust me when it happens. And if anybody knows that experience, please feel free to comment and confirm. So worry warts, we're out here. We know we worry. We do what we got to do, but let that go as much as possible. Put it into practice. And trust me, when things aren't moving the way you want to, after you kind of exercise and gotten your mind around divine timing, when it doesn't happen when you feel it's going to happen, you release it and you let it go so that it happens. And when it does happen, you receive it and you understand it, and you look around all the factors of when it comes in, and you understand in those moments that it happened when it was supposed to happen, and not a minute, day, week, month, year before or after. It is perfectly timed. And if you like this video, please click the like. If you like what you've heard and you want to hear more, hit that bell. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so that you get alerted to when more stuff comes down the line, because I got some new things coming up that is going to be helpful and hopefully insightful. And with that, I'm going to say peace and see you next time. Sacred Mysteries.